Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show where we talk about pilot orders, series orders, cancellations, renewals, some castings, all that kind of thing, and whatever else comes up. That is what we do. So that's what's going to happen over the next probably
hour-ish.
They're usually about an hour, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. It depends how much ranting we go on in certain questions. Sometimes when we get to the new shows that are in development, Connor will start drinking booze at certain catchphrases.
Oh well, it's ready if needs be.
Yes, the rules for the record for that is that if at any point in the descriptions of those shows, if it uses the phrase personal and professional lives or a variation thereof that means the same thing, Connor will take a drink. And I'm sure there was another one you started drinking for, and I can't remember what it is now, but.
Well, either. But if it happens, we might remember.
Yes, we'll know if it pops up. So, budget news this week. Start off with some renewals and cancellations and whatnot, like I usually do. Pennyworth has been renewed for season 2, so some people are liking it. Epics are happy with it.
Fair enough.
Second season of 10 episodes, which is the same as the first. So, there you go. We'll have it. I pretty much hated the first episode, so no interest from me.
I quite liked it well enough for what it was.
Also renewed is Creepshow from Shudder. It's actually kind of weird to say Shudder's renewed something. I don't usually talk about Shudder too much.
No, very rarely.
But they've renewed Creepshow for season 2. They must be happy with its performance. It's been doing good numbers for them. I've not tried it yet. Unfortunately, Tim, who has been watching it as they've been coming out, as they've been pumping the episodes out, said that I remember him being kind of like mildly positive on the first one, and then he gave me an update last week saying that it's just progressively gotten worse since the first episode.
That's a shame.
So, and he's like a huge fan of those movies, so he's upset about that. So, but hey, Creepshow season 2 is going to be a thing. So
there'll be one good one at the end, so that people will go, well, maybe season 2 will be all right.
Yes, and I can't fathom why, but for some reason Netflix has renewed Another Life for season 2.
Oh, you tried this without me, didn't you?
I did, yes, because you were away or you were busy that day. I don't know what was happening, but
I can't remember. I was something.
Katie Sackhoff show, 10 episodes, second season has been renewed. This was a sci-fi show. The first episode was one of the worst first episodes that I had the misfortune of doing this year. So, needless to say, I will not be anywhere near it going forward. But obviously, enough people have watched it for Netflix to give it a second season. So, here it is.
People just have no taste. That's just a fact.
Lodge 49 has been cancelled by AMC after 2 seasons. The producers are going to shop it around to see if they can get a new home for it. But
I'll be honest, I don't even remember what this one is.
Your memory is terrible, but it's people were fans. I've heard some people in streams have talked to me about it. So hopefully they find a new home for fans of the show. I never did try it myself. The most I remember about this, honestly, is that it premiered alongside Better Call Saul season 3 or 4 when it launched. So, but that's
so it already looked bad when it aired.
I never said that.
Just saying, you put anything against that, and it probably doesn't look amazing.
You're going against every bit of TV logic right now. The logic is that you put a new show after a good show so that the audience will stick around for it. But your argument here is no, you don't put anything next to Better Call Saul because it'll just look bad by comparison.
Yeah, exactly. I'm aware of the standard TV logic.
Yes.
Just saying they're wrong.
Next up, we got a trailer. I mean, it's a short trailer. It's only 45 seconds, but we got a trailer for Dracula, the show from the Sherlock folk.
Yes.
Which is coming. How did you feel about it?
I was surprised at how heavily it was leaning into the horror angle for the BBC. Because it's another BBC adaptation. We talk about Sherlock. This is. We should mention, obviously, it's from the Sherlock people, but it's not like a modern adaptation like Sherlock was.
No, it's set in 1897. It's set when Dracula was set.
Yeah. I could have seen this being a very much, it's kind of a BBC period drama, just happens to be Dracula. But it does seem to be leaning into the horror angle a bit more than that. So I can appreciate that at least.
Yeah, a lot of quick cuts.
Yeah.
Close a scene at the start of it from the opening of the book where Jonathan comes to the castle for the first time. I'm intrigued by this because I love the book, and I love
It's one of
some.
the few books you love.
I love some of the movies that have been made of it, but none of them have been particularly accurate. Like the ones I love tend to just have a really good atmosphere and tend to handle things fairly well. Typically, the one example that's brought up as being the most faithful is the one I hate the most because it's just a checklist of going through scenes in the book rather than actually having atmosphere. And atmosphere is kind of the main thing that makes the book work. So the thought of a TV show that can spread it out over...
I think it's only 3 episodes. I don't know if they're longer episodes like Sherlock often was, though.
Well, it'll be at least 60 minutes. I mean, it might be 90-minute episodes. I don't know if 3's enough, though. If this is the whole book in 3 episodes, I think it might be...
I mean, I don't know if it is the whole book. I'm not sure. It might be a case of, okay, we're doing up to a point and there's going to be a second season.
Honestly, I think... The first episode, and even this is including if it's 90 minutes, the first episode, as far as I'm concerned, should just be Jonathan's story in Transylvania. And in the book, that's like the first chapter or 2. It's not like a lot of the book.
But I don't know if that needs to be the entire first episode. If it's a 90-minute episode, I think you need at least 30 minutes there for that. Maybe 45. But, we'll see how it goes.
There's so much build of dread in that section, though. And
there is.
And don't gloss over the ship part either. But one of the things that brought up in Screams After Midnight in the last couple of weeks is that there's going to be a movie based entirely on the ship chapter from Dracula, which is a great idea. If you've not read Dracula, there's a chapter basically where they find because all of Dracula's told through diary entries and things like that. It's always like sort of past tense. Where they find the journal of the captain of the ship that had Dracula's coffin on it when he was like coming over to London, and it's just like this great little monster story of like people going missing on the ship, and obviously as time goes on over the trip, Dracula's killing more and more of them off, and it's just this really great chapter. It's this almost self-contained thing, and there's going to be an entire movie based on just that chapter, which I think is a fantastic idea. So
I think it's always interesting to me how many of these kind of books were diary entries. It was very much the format of the time. You mentioned Dracula. I've read Jekyll and Hyde, Frankenstein. They all have that same, if not explicit diary entries, although I think Frankenstein at least is. They're all this, narration in the past tense of, these are the events that happened and I am relaying the story.
I mean, obviously this is not how they would have thought of it at the time, but it's basically it makes it sound like a crime report. Like it's making it sound like you're watching like FBI files or something. Obviously, that's not how they were thinking of it in 1890 or whatever when Dracula was written. But like that's kind of the effect that it has is doing it in the past tense like that.
It is, yeah.
You could almost argue it's kind of a found footage thing as well.
Yeah, it kind of does. It gives it that effect when you read them.
Although writing diary entries in a prose novel is much more effective than found footage as a genre wide, like
it's not technique. As narrow in scope.
Yes, like it's something you can do as a valid thing. Like it's the equivalent of choosing to shoot your movie in a certain aspect ratio. You can do that for hundreds and thousands of movies and it'll never get old. That's just a valid choice, for your story. Found footage, on the other hand, is very limited and can get very tiring because it
often does.
So specific. But anyway, so I'm intrigued. I hope it's good. Dracula's voice at the end of the trailer didn't thrill me right away. I guess...
but it's one of those where there's so many Draculas in terms, on screen that I'm kind of willing to give him a fair shot at this point.
Yeah, I guess I was just expecting more of an accent. It was just such a straight English accent. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll probably get used to that though.
We'll see if he's intimidating. We'll see if there's an atmosphere. I'm concerned that it'll just kind of feel flat. That is my main concern.
It might well, but I believe it said coming soon. I'm expecting it late this year. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what they kind of do over the Christmas New Year's period.
Because I'm not convinced that a BBC original can, at least in my experience, I've not seen them handle great atmosphere. The ones that are good tend to be good for other reasons.
That's fair.
So I'm concerned about that, but we'll see. Next up, Yes, so this is kind of a cancellation of a sort. This is the Game of Thrones prequel that was written by Jane Goldman and was going to start Naomi Watts is officially dead. The pilot is not happening anymore. And I've got a companion news story to go with this in a second before you jump ahead. But
that's fine. I knew you did.
So after careful consideration, we have decided not to move forward with the series. The Untitled Game of Thrones prequel
was referred to as The Long Night by most people.
Yes, well, it's not what they're calling it. I'm reading the official statement.
No, I think Martin actually called it The Long Night at one point. So everyone went, well, that's its name, even though HBO never confirmed that.
So that's dead. Given that it had a good writer attached and had a star attached, that is kind of surprising. This one got canned. Whereas... Hold on. Whereas another prequel did get picked up and has been ordered straight to series. Game of Thrones is called House of the Dragon. And it's just House of the Dragon. It's not Game of Thrones : House of the Dragon. It's just House of the Dragon. Although it's clear that it's Game of Thrones because the font is the Game of Thrones font.
I appreciate that they didn't have to put Game of Thrones, colon. That would have been worse.
So that was announced along with a lot of other stuff we'll talk about later when they were doing their big Warner Media HBO Max investors presentation, doing their whole thing. 10 episodes straight to series order. I think it's interesting that this is starting at 10 episodes again, and it would be interesting if it does go 6-7 seasons like Game of Thrones, if by the final few seasons, we're going to whittle it down to 8 and it's 7 because we have to tighten it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see.
So Game of Thrones veteran Miguel Sapochnik, I'll go with Sapochnik, and Condal, partner as showrunners, will also serve as executive producers along with Game of Thrones executive producers George R. R. Martin and Vince Geraghis. So this is written by Condal based on Martin's Fire and Blood. The series, which is set 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones, tells the story of the house Targaryen, whatever.
You've seen the first season.
Why do you think I remember anything?
I thought
this was 8 years ago. I remember incest and some baby dragons. That's
Dragon Girl. She's a Targaryen.
Okay, sure, but I don't know why you would think I'd remember that name.
Because pop culture, zeitgeist. It was said a lot.
No. No.
All right.
Don't know what you want from me. So, yes, there you go.
Yeah. So the first one being cancelled. All the buzz is that it was cancelled because of creative differences, which sucks because the version that we had a good writer attached, the version that existed was probably fairly good. Or at least I assume it was decent. I know they actually they shot a pilot. HBO went, try again. Reshot a second pilot, and they still didn't like it. So they tried with this, whatever it is. And I think for me, it's a little bit disappointing because I would have in premise alone, I would have preferred that one. I think because it's so much more removed from Game of Thrones. That was about you got the first man, the children of Thoros. You're way back in the timeline. You got all this stuff going on, whereas this one is, it's relatively speaking a lot closer in the history. It's it's only 300 years. It's the start of the Targaryen in Westeros, and it's that period that ends essentially just before the show starts. So it kind of is much closer, and that's a little bit less interesting to me. It feels a bit safer.
Feels a bit more Star Wars prequel-y. You can't deny that comparison. No, that's a fine comparison.
I'm just not taking the bait.
You say that as if you'd want to defend them.
I don't, but you going so hard on it makes me want to.
Such garbage, all three of them. So yeah, House of the Dragon has been ordered to series, 10 episodes. Do you know what? Honestly, this forgoing the pilot makes me think that because they cancelled the other one and they wanted something for their investors meeting, let's just order it to series so we can say we've got a Game of Thrones show coming. Because I think for investors, that adds a lot of buzz for them. That adds a lot of confidence.
Just we will make it work.
So that's that. Speaking of fantasy, though, although possibly better, hopefully, is The Witcher. Got a new trailer along with a premiere date. A slightly different premiere date than the previous one that we had kind of leaked. This is a few days different.
Yeah, it's because this is it is on the Friday, right?
Yes, because I think the leak date via Twitter before was like the Tuesday before this. It was a few days earlier. So
Yeah.
Witcher Season 1 is going to debut on December the 20th. And this is got a new trailer, which I did watch, although I watched it the day it came out. I've not watched
Me
it
too.
today.
But
But
it looked pretty good.
it looked okay. It was lacking. Like, I felt the first trailer had more monsters in it and hinted at the sort of more horror elements. So this one felt a bit more lacking to me. Although it did have girl in a bathtub, which did feel on point.
Classic. Yeah.
Felt like proper Witcher.
I'll say, you say, oh, it has less monsters in it. I get that. This is okay, we showed you that. Now we're going to show you some of this side of things in the two different trailers so that we've got some variety. Makes sense to me.
Again, I feel like one of the things I love about Witcher, right, the games, is the atmosphere. And I think how you sell this to me and sell this to me like this is going to do what I want it to do, is just give me like a minute clip, right, for the trailer, I mean, right, just instead of doing all these quick cuts of like people looking emotional and all these like one-liners and stuff, just give me a 1 minute scene of a girl like stalking something, not even seeing them, whatever the monster is, maybe except a glimpse at the end. Just watch him go down a dark forest holding his sword and looking for something.
I would not be entirely surprised if that's how the first episode opens.
Very, very possible. Best way to start, to be honest, quite frankly, would be that. So 8-episode season, and that's coming December 20th.
Which is a bitch of a date for us.
Yeah, we have a very busy Christmas now because we got Expanse, Witcher, and Lost in Space Season 2 all kind of hitting around the same time. So we're going to have plenty to watch over that Christmas period. So that's cool. Next up, shocking news, which none of us saw coming. It's not like I said this exact thing would happen the second that the previous relevant news happened. But Felicity will be back for the finale of Arrow, the series finale. I'm shocked.
Of course she is. I know.
It's barely worth even reporting this. I mean, of course she was going to be back for the final episode. There wasn't even a doubt in my mind.
It's not a surprise, and I don't even, as much as we don't like it, I don't even blame them, because it would kind of feel weird to not have her there, I think.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. All right, bit more casting stuff. Sean Bean has been added as a series regular to Season 2 of Snowpiercer.
Does he die at the end?
I mean,
anyone who knows his character, if they tell us.
What do you mean if they know his character?
Well, it's based on stuff. I don't know how is the first season just okay. This is the same as what the movie is.
I would have assumed the second season would be going beyond whatever season, whatever the movie did.
It might well be. I just I wasn't certain, so I had never seen that actually confirmed anywhere. So.
Well, I don't think it's confirmed until we get this season 1 and we get to the end of it. Yeah. But my assumption would be that it would be really weird to drag out the plot of the movie beyond 10 episodes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also think it would be weird and probably the wrong choice. But I just, you never know. Some TV people make strange decisions.
Unless he's Ed Harris's character, in which case it means that, they're not getting to the end of the movie until season 2.
Yeah.
But he's a regular, which means it's not going to be a one-scene thing. He's going to be there for the whole shebang. So we'll see. Season 1's not even premiered yet. It was in TNT, went to TBS, it's back to TNT, and
I feel like sometime early next year is when we're expecting it.
It has to hit during winter. No one wants to watch Snowpiercer during the summer. This has to hit in like February or something like that.
Yeah, March, April at the latest, I think, is as far as you can push it.
Yeah, so Sean Bean. Do you know what? This is a really weird pet peeve of mine, but I've always hated how Sean Bean's name looks like it should rhyme, but it doesn't.
You're not the only person to say this.
It annoys me. To the point where I want to call him Sean Bean. Just for the... just so it rhymes. Either that or Sean Bon. I mean, whatever he prefers.
It's up to you. You choose how we mispronounce your name.
He's Sean Bean or Sean Bon. I'll do whatever one you prefer, but one of them's happening. All right, next up, HBO Max. It's going to be $15, $14.99. It's launching in May 2020 in North America, Latin America, and various places in Europe. interestingly, they're talking about by 2025, right? So this is a big projection. But by 2025, they're expecting 50 million subscribers in the US and then a total of 90 million subscribers worldwide. So they've got big plans for this. The more interesting news for us, though, in terms of talking about this, although it does sound like because I suppose the one thing to note here about the price is that we'd heard it was going to be more than that a little bit. It sounds like it's just going to be like anyone who has HBO, it's just going to transition to HBO Max. You're going to get more stuff for essentially the same price, which is a good deal.
Are they going to bother keeping the regular HBO subscription as well?
I don't think so.
Are you just going to flat replace it?
I think it's going. I think AT&T customers are getting it for free as well, at least to begin with.
Well, that's like a large portion of the US by default.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason for that, as this article kind of speculates, is that they want to try and close the gap with Netflix as quickly as possible. So this is so it could be, and obviously if you don't know, AT&T owns Warner Brothers, so they own HBO and they own HBO Max, so it's their thing. So that's why
just
that's
give it away. Yeah, make the numbers look good. It'll look good to investors and so on.
But yeah, so yeah, the price is even better than we thought. Now, $15, don't get me wrong, that's obviously more than a lot of the other streaming services. But when you think of how big Warner Brothers' library is, I mean, there was like a photo from this investors thing, and it was all the different logos of all the different like networks and like family of content that they have, and it was like, obviously there's HBO and Cartoon Network, DC, New Line, and like it was just like all these different things, CNN, and like.
We spoke about this last time when we were talking about the leaked price before. They get away with this because HBO has set that price for so long, and has obviously been a reasonable success in its own right that people have been willing to pay for it. So there's no reason for them to go lower than that.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, as what it is, it comes across a bit more prestigious, but essentially for the same price, you're getting more content. Yeah. So that should be interesting. So the other big thing though is a nice big article here with everything they've announced. Content-wise,
in total, or just from this?
All the originals, all the HBO Max and HBO Originals.
Okay.
And some of these aren't new. Some of these, are a second or third season. Shows that have moved from elsewhere, or shows that have sort of been brought back, or whatever. So Max Originals, I won't do the descriptions for all of these. I'll do maybe some of the relevant ones. So for Max Originals, we've got a kids and family section. We've got Adventure Time, Distant Lands. You got Craftopia, Esme and Roy, The Fungies, Gremlin's Secret of the Mogwai, which of course is maybe the most interesting one in this batch.
I'm going to guess the last one is The Fun Guys.
Maybe it's pronounced that way, but it's not.
Fungis, right?
No, ES.
No,
IES.
Maybe. Okay.
Jellystone, Karma, Little Ellen, Looney Tunes cartoons, Mecha Builders, The Monster at the End of the Story, The Not Too Late Show with Elmo. Not Too Late Show with Elmo.
That's quite amusing, actually.
Sesame Street, that was a big thing. They announced that the entire 35. Wait on. 5. Okay, sorry. The next 5 new seasons, which are all 35 episodes each of this show, will be HBO Max produced.
Yeah, just before anyone worries, because I know there are a lot of people who were horrified by this, that they're locking it behind this paywall. It is still going to PBS, I think it is, after 6 months or whatever. So it is just early on here. It will still be going somewhere free to air for the kids later. That's
been on for 50 years. I don't know if they've confirmed that all 58 years of back catalogue is going to be available, but that'd be a hefty amount if it is. And then we have Tig and Seek is the last one in the kids and family. And then the next section is called Gen Z, or Gen Z, depending on your pronounce it.
I hate everything in this already.
15 Minutes of Shame. Brad and Gary go to ... Presumably, maybe every episode's got a different end to that.
Location,
College Girls, working title. This is the Mindy Kaling one. DC Superhero High. Let's read this one.
I don't recall that.
This half-hour comedy, executive produced by Elizabeth Banks, follows a group of students experiencing fun and drama of adolescence at a boarding school for gifted kids. These teens are just trying to navigate the pressures of high school, but none of them realize that someday they will become legendary DC superheroes. Yeah, I don't remember this. I feel like I'd remember this pitch.
Also, Was that personal and professional?
These two just try to get pressures of high school, but none of them realize that someday. Oh, no, it was a bit before that. Experiencing the fun and drama of adolescence at a boarding school for gifted kids, these teens are just trying to navigate the pressures of high school. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I'm thinking, high school, and then future, like what they got to live up to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Am I drinking for that?
I'll
drink for it.
Generation Hustle, which is a documentary. Gossip Girl is getting a reboot, which is a drama. Grease Rydell High is a musical. I know I wasn't saying the genres before, but I'm just, I've noticed that there's an easy thing to look at now. Green Lantern. Now, this is one of the things that could be in the new shows section, but I've left it for this part instead because it's relevant here.
Because it's all here.
Because it's HBO Max. Greg Berlanti's executive producing a new Green Lantern show. There is no details yet about who's in it, what characters or anything. They're keeping very hush-hush about the whole thing, but Green Lantern's in development.
It exists.
We talked about this on the television for the Multiverse show a few days ago because obviously it's relevant on that show too.
Yeah.
But we're fans of the character. We hope this could be good. Hopefully better than the CW stuff because it is on this more premium service. Maybe that means the actual space side of it can be a bit more big budget and
set it all in space.
Expansive. Not all of it.
Yeah, I want to see Earth. Do it all on Earth.
No, I want Earth. I want some Earth stuff.
I'm okay with Earth Lanterns, but just not on Earth. I think it's more interesting.
No, I want them to have supporting characters on Earth.
They have supporting characters, just not Earth ones.
No, on Earth, it grounds them. No, you're wrong. And you'll always be wrong. Strange Adventures, which is the other new DC show, again, produced by Greg Berlanti. This is going to be an anthology focusing on smaller DC characters. Although I am going to guess that the first episode will be Adam Strange because the title is kind of taken from him. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, should be cool.
Could be interesting. Tuned Out is a comedy by Robert Zemeckis. Unpregnant. That's a feature film. Oh. And then that was the last of the Gen Z. And then adults, we have this is the adult section.
Yeah, look at that Gen Z. You're not adults.
Yes. Americana, which is a drama, stars Lupita Nyong'o. Birth, Wedding, and Funeral, which is a documentary series. Bobby Sue, which is a film starring Gina Rodriguez. The Boondocks, which is an animated thing. Yeah, we talked about that in the news a while ago.
Yeah, well, I remember that.
Bourdain, which is a documentary film. Cersei, which is a drama. Crime Farm, which is a drama. Doom Patrol, which we know all too well. This is obviously season 2 going forward. Dune, The Sisterhood, we know about this as well. Big sci-fi, tie-in to the new movies coming out. Ellen's Home Design Challenge, that's Ellen DeGeneres, for the record.
Of course it is.
Equal, which is a limited documentary series. Expecting Amy, which is a documentary film. First Dates Hotel, which is non-fiction reality show. The Flight Attendant, which is a thriller starring Kaylee Cuoco. Interesting. We may have talked about that. I just don't remember. Maybe the title's new. But
maybe. I remember talking about her being in something.
Yeah. Full Bloom, which is a non-fiction series. Gen Lock, half-hour animated series. The Greatest Space, which is a non-fiction 10-episode series. Heaven's Gate, limited documentary series. The Hose, which is a working title. And this is about people whose last name is Ho and they're from Vietnam. This is not about prostitution, just for the record. Like, people might jump to that.
I feel like that name might change.
Yeah, it probably will. Legendary, which is non-fiction. Let Them All Talk, which is a feature film. Love Life, which is a comedy starring Anna Kendrick. I remember talking about that, actually, yeah. Made for Love, which is a comedy starring Kristen Milioti and Ray Romano. I remember talking about that.
I remember that one, yeah.
Persona is a documentary film. Raised by Wolves, this is actually a new one from this week, so I'll tell you the description for this. This is a sci-fi show. The writer and showrunner is Aaron Guzikowski. Stars Travis Fimmel, Amanda Collin, Abu Baker Salim, Winter McGrath, Niama Algar, Matthias Villara, Felix Jamison, Ethan Hazard, Jordan Logram, Azia Shah and Ivy Wong. A couple of tough ones in there. The pilot's going to be directed by Ridley Scott, and it is produced by Scott Free Productions.
Okay.
An epic serialized sci-fi series, executive produced by and directed by Ridley Scott. The series, maybe he's done all of it. Actually,
all of it, yeah.
I assume pilot, but I mean, maybe that implies maybe all of it. The series centers on two androids tasked with raising human children on a mysterious virgin planet, as the burgeoning colony of humans threatens to be torn apart by religious differences. Oh, we actually have heard about this before.
I was going to say, I'm getting major deja vu here.
Actually, no. I know why this was in the news this week. Sorry, I didn't keep it together with this. It's moved. It wasn't originally HBO Max. It was on. It was either TNT or TBS, but it's now a HBO Max show.
That sounds more fitting.
Yeah, feels like it'll fit here better. Yeah, but anyway, so the androids learn that controlling the beliefs of humans is treacherous and a difficult task. Sounds interesting. And maybe it's got a better budget. Maybe the cable format is better for. I mean, there were cable channels, but maybe the streaming cable format will be better for Ridley Scott's schedule.
Yeah,
you can shoot it like a big movie essentially. Rap Shit, which is a comedy. The Scoop, which is a documentary film. Search Party, which moved from, I think that was TBS, one of those. Had 2 seasons already, but season 3 is going to be HBO Max. Obviously, it'll have seasons 1 and 2 as well. Stand-up comedy specials presented by Conan O'Brien. Speaks for itself.
It really does.
Starstruck's a comedy. Station 11's a limited drama. We've talked about that a couple of times recently with some casting and whatnot. Super Intelligence is a feature film starring Melissa McCarthy and Bobby Carnival. I do like Bobby Carnival, but
I don't think he's enough to save that for me.
No. Tokyo Vice is a limited drama. We've talked about that before. Ansel Elgort and Ken Watanabe. That's the end of the Max originals, which, to be fair, was quite a hefty list. Like, that was a long list we just went through. There's a reason why I wasn't reading all the descriptions.
Yeah, we'd be here all night.
Yeah. But they also put down the HBO originals that are coming soon, too. So I'll just quickly do these. There's less of these, for the record, before I start these. Avenue 5, which is a comedy starring Hugh Laurie.
That's the one I'm very excited for.
Bad Education is a film starring Hugh Jackman. Betty is a comedy starring Rochelle Vinberg. The Gilded Age is a drama starring Amanda Peet and Cynthia Nixon. His Dark Materials, of course, is the co-production with BBC. So that's obviously, like, was very on the brink of happening when this meeting happened.
Yeah, that airs tonight in the US.
Yes. House of the Dragon, which is the aforementioned Game of Thrones spin-off that they kind of announced to go along with all this. How To with John Wilson's a comedy, documentary series. I Know This Much Is True is a limited series with Mark Ruffalo. Yep. Industry, which is a drama. Executive produced and written by Mickey Down and Conrad Kay. January 22nd is a drama.
Tell me that's also the day it's airing. Otherwise, they're missing a trick.
They don't have a date listed here, but it might be.
I hope so.
Lovecraft Country we know about. I've heard about that a lot. That sounds really good. We're looking forward to that. That's the Jordan Peele produced one. Mayor of Easttown is a limited series starring Kate Winslet. The Nevers, which is created, written, and will be directed by Joss Whedon, the creator of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This entire list was worth it for that moment.
Was it really?
The New Pope limited series, follow up to just the Pope. Was a Pope show before?
There was the Young Pope.
The Young Pope. There you go.
So you've got the Young Pope, and I think Netflix have got the 2 Popes coming up.
Oh, so they've had the Young Pope, and they're going to have the New Pope. Does that mean the third one they're going to have to be like the Fresh Pope? They have to keep going back to the thesaurus. So
maybe at the end you get a reboot. It's just the Pope.
We got The Outsider, which is a Stephen King adaptation starring Ben Mendelsohn and Jason Bateman. Perry Mason drama starring Matthew Rhys and John Lithgow and Tatiana Maslany. The Plot Against America, which is a limited series starring Winona Ryder and Zoe Kazan. Run is a comedy starring Donald Gleason and Merritt Weaver. The Third Day is a limited series starring Jude Law and Naomi Harris. The Undoing limited series starring Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant and Donald Sutherland. We Are Who...
Sorry, the Third Law was one. Is that an adaptation? Of
The Third Day, not The Third Law.
Day. Sorry, I must have misheard a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Carry on.
The Undoing I'd mentioned. We Are Who We Are, which is a limited series starring Chloe Sevigny, who I've seen in a bunch of stuff recently, actually. And that's the rest of it. There's a list at the bottom of like back catalogue HBO that will be on there.
Oh, we don't need to go through that.
Oh, we don't. No, we don't. Yeah, all the usual suspects are there. Wire, Westworld, Watchmen, 6 Feet Under,
Game of Thrones, I'm sure.
Enthusiasm, Game of Thrones, everything they own. And then movies. No, it doesn't list every movie, of course, that they'll have.
Thank God.
But it makes a point of saying, here's movies from this year and last year that are going to be there at launch. So, it mentions Joker, it mentions that Chapter 2, it mentions, Aquaman and some of the big notable ones.
Big Warner movies.
Yeah. So, but it also mentions, in addition to the robust slate of originals, HBO Max will feature a vast selection of titles from Warner's media brands and library of content, including Warner Bros. Film and Television Studios, New Line Cinema, DC, CNN, TNT, TBS, True TV, the CW, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Looney Tunes, and more. And it has a huge list of shows, not all of them, but it mentions Big Bang Theory and it mentions a bunch of other stuff, and then it mentions. I mean, it's again compared to what's actually in their library for movies. This is nothing, but it's got a good list of 30 movies there. Just to be like, hey, just wet your lips here. Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Shawshank
The real
Redemption.
question is extended or theatrical.
Maybe they'll have both, but hopefully the shorter versions.
No. You want the true vision.
I don't know if you do.
You do. You always do.
So I mentioned The Shining, and Spirited Away in the entire Ghibli film collection. Yeah, they announced that a few weeks ago.
That'll get some people.
Yeah, some people will like that a lot. So it's funny to me, actually, because it mentions Gremlins 1 and 2. I guess it's because the new animated series is coming, and that's why they've mentioned those specifically. But it's just funny to me that gets mentioned, but it doesn't mention...
They're not in the same caliber as everything else there, are they?
Yeah, but it doesn't mention, I don't know. A lot. Like, Warner Bros. Has, thousands of movies.
Too many movies, one could say.
But they felt the need to say Miss Congeniality in this list.
Really?
Yeah.
Strange choice.
Miss Congeniality and Space Jam. I guess it's getting a sequel.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know why they're doing that one.
Yeah. What's interesting, though, is it says DC films, all live-action movies from the past decade. And what's funny about that is, I'd expect all of them from before this decade as well, but also, it does specifically also mention The Dark Knight separately. It says Dark Knight and then DC films.
Yeah, probably because they're borderline not in the last decade anymore.
Yeah, but come on, are you not expecting the Superman movies and?
No, they'll have at least Superman 1 and 2. They'll probably throw 3, 4 on there as well anyway. And Returns.
Is that everything? It's Warner Brothers service. Everything they've ever done should be there.
It should be. It's more just waiting for licenses to expire, isn't it?
I don't think they wait for licenses to expire on their movies.
Depends if anywhere has exclusive rights.
Who's got exclusive rights for Superman 4: The Quest for Peace?
I don't know, but they are getting their money's worth, let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Obviously, everything they make now will never get another exclusive license again.
No chance.
So everything will just go to the service, which makes sense. All right. Well, that was your HBO Max info dump. Luckily, the Apple stuff doesn't seem to be that tantalizing yet, so there's room for the HBO Max content.
Yeah. We've not been. Do you know what I will say? I expect, if nothing else, the HBO Max player to be better.
Oh, don't get me started. For those of you who did not see a review for C, I went on a tirade because the web player for Apple TV is absolutely horrendous. It wouldn't work in Chrome. It would work in Firefox, but it stopped playing every 13 minutes and 50 seconds. And I didn't count that. Someone commented saying this is what was happening to me, and I never counted the time it was happening, but it sounds...
You said to me around 15 minutes.
Yes, so it sounds like that's exactly the same issue I was having. So the commenter clearly timed it, and it's like, oh, it's exactly always 13 minutes and 50 seconds.
That is so specific. That is such a strange strange problem on their back end.
Yeah, it's a clear glitch somewhere because it's consistent and specific.
Yeah, if it was just you every 15 minutes or so, I can see, okay, who knows what's causing that, but 13 minutes and 50 seconds repeatedly across different people, that's some dodgy code going on.
Yeah, something fishy. And for the record, I tried playing something back like a day later to see if they'd fixed it, and it was still just as bad. Like, it wouldn't play in Chrome. They were still gone.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Anyway, so we're out of the shows. We're out of the shows that are in development or ordered or whatever. Before we start those, though, I will just mention here in the middle of the episode about patreon.com. If you want to support everything we do and you like the content, you like the weekly podcast with the news, or you like all the TV reviews or the movie podcasts, if you go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, you can support everything we do for as little as $1 per month, and you get bonus episodes of some of the movie podcasts. Soon, probably January, you'll get an exclusive Already Cancelled, which is where we review an old show. There'll be an audio only Already Cancelled exclusive to patrons at the $1 tier, which I can reveal now is 6 Feet Under, because that vote has now completed, because patrons were voting that in the last month. We're going to finish up Firefly before the end of the year, and then we'll be doing 6 Feet Under starting in January, so you can look forward to that. So you get that, and there's obviously other things at the higher tiers. There's voting rights, and there's producer credits and all that sort of thing. So go and have a look and see if you want to chip in and feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. Mildly fuzzy, you might say. So starting with the comedies, ABC is developing a show called Are We Okay? A single camera, half-hour comedy from Megan Gailey, who works on Conan, and Aaron Burdett, who worked on Man-Seeking Woman. So Are We Okay? Is about how the Midwestern couple in their 20s manages to stay together after the entire world sees their marriage proposal end in disaster. And on a deeper level, it's about their long, winding journey to figure out if they're actually meant to be together.
All right. I mean,
so something wacky happens when the proposal happens, and then they just... So it's a relationship comedy from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be great. I mean, this is the thing with comedies: it's just good writing, good actors, and then it's funny, and that's all you need. But Fox is developing a comedy called Building Security, a single-camera workplace comedy from Saturday Night Live veteran Steve Coren. Building Society is a workplace comedy about a group of hard-working but extremely ill-equipped men and women who occasionally protect and serve the residents of a commercial office building. So, yeah.
Okay.
Single camera is interesting because that sounds like it could be multi-camera
workplace comedy.
Because that could be like in their like the main, because obviously multi-camera shows you have typically your one main set that most of the show's in. That could be like their office, like where all their desks are, and that's where you set the show. But this sounds to me like it could end up being more of a, an office of Parks and Rec, not documentary, I don't mean interviews, but just, they're actually going around the building and they're interacting with different people in the building who are having complaints or saying, there's someone following me. Like, we'll have like cookie office characters who are
possibly, yeah,
in the way. So that is on Fox that's developing that. And that's actually all the comedies. Not a lot of comedies this week.
Okay.
Plenty of the dramas though. And the first thing we have to talk about, now it was weird to separate this from the Green Lantern and Strange Adventures, and it feels like we've already talked about this because we did it on Television from the Multiverse, but right at the start of the week, there was a Superman and Lois show confirmed to be in development at the CW.
I forgot that was still this week.
Yes, I was surprised myself. So
what a long week.
Been a long week, and it's good news to a point. I like that representation of those characters on there. Various reports of this are saying it's going to be them as parents, which makes sense given what's happening with them and the shows that we've seen so far. I do feel quite jaded right now with the quality of the CW shows. They're not that great.
It doesn't help that Legends isn't on.
Yeah, Legends is the one consistently fun one. So I'm skeptical over the quality of this show, but I can't say I don't want them to try. So
you gotta live in hope that one of them's gonna nail it eventually.
You'd hope. But I mean, we'll leave it there. We talked about it a little bit more on Television from the Multiverse, but so Superman, or Super Dad, as I'm going to maybe call it for now until they officially title it. So next up, Adam McKay is doing another show with HBO. He did Succession with them, and they're going to go into Oh, what's the thing here? Yeah, so they're doing a show on Jeffrey Epstein. I was looking for a title there, but there's no title yet.
Okay.
So they're doing a show on Jeffrey Epstein, who, of course, was the disgraced financier who was as a convicted sex offender, and was arrested and quote unquote committed suicide earlier this year. Although people may speculate to their heart's content.
Speculate away.
Yes. I'm not going to engage in anything here on this. This is not a podcast.
Well, maybe
to
just
talk about
encourage some speculation, but that'll be it.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, it's a big, serious sort of limited drama that they could whip up.
Yeah, he did that movie last year on oh god, I'm completely blanking on it. It was a Oscar contender last year.
Vice.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I can see this being in the same vein as that, kind of a little bit quirky in the sense of it kind of plays with its format a little bit. Yeah, I can see it doing that and being reasonably fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be for me, but it makes sense for them to tackle something like this.
Yeah.
So there you go. Next up, Amazon are developing Bone White, which is a drama based on Ronald Malfi's novel, from writer C. Henry Chasen, who worked on Antlers, and Warren Littlefield, who worked on The Handmaid's Tale. So, in Bone White, after a telepathic distress call from his estranged twin brother jolts him out of his humdrum existence, an agoraphobic professor journeys deep into the Alaskan wilderness to uncover a vast supernatural mystery with the help of an intrepid police investigator.
Okay. Could be interesting.
Yeah, that sounded a lot more interesting, because see, when I read the title, it sounded like it's just a really boring novel to me. It sounded like, oh, Bone White, it sounds like it's going to be like some family drama in a vineyard or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's actually this supernatural investigation.
It really depends how this is played, but it could be really interesting.
It could be interesting. So that's Amazon that's developing that. And then, speaking of Amazon, Leslie Mann, who has been in a bunch of stuff. You'll know her from like Dodgeball and other stuff. It's Ben Stiller's wife, or at least it was. I don't know if they're still married, but so she's set to lead in The Power. This is Amazon's 10-episode global thriller drama based on Naomi Alderman's feminist sci-fi book. Oh, sci-fi, like that. So this is from Jane Featherstone. Wait, what? Jane Featherstone's sister. Oh, that must be the name of her company. Her company must be called Sister. Because that's a weird sentence otherwise. This is from Jane Featherstone's sister.
Unless it follows it up with another name.
No, that's the end of the sentence. It just says Chernobyl in brackets because they worked in that. But
okay, if it said Jane Featherstone's sister, and then this is the name, then I'd go with it. But if that's the end of the sentence, yeah, that must be the production company. Is sister capitalized?
Yes.
Then yeah, it must be.
Reed Marano from The Handmaid's Tale is directing and executive producing. Adapted for the screen by Alderman, who is working alongside an all-female writer's room. The Power is all teenage girls in the world develop the power to electrocute people at will. It's hereditary, it's inbuilt, and it can't be taken away from them. Coming alive to the thrill of pure power, the ability to hurt or even kill by releasing electrical jolts from their fingertips, they rapidly learn they can awaken the power in older women. Soon enough, nearly every woman on the world can do it, and then everything is different. So this is a big, heavy concept thing here. This is the power dynamic of the entire world just shifting almost overnight. I'm interested.
Yeah, could be all right.
I think there's a lot to explore there.
Yeah, I really don't know what the tone and the angle it takes is. On a specific level. Although I know, okay, we're doing the feminist story because it even described itself as that.
I feel like you'll have that at the core, but then you'll have some interesting ideas. Like obviously some will abuse this power, and then we get it's almost some satire.
Do we have some fan back? No, this isn't the way we should be doing things.
Yeah. I feel like there'll be a lot of moral debates about.
I can see that.
What they should be doing, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's The Power, and Amazon are developing that. Well, actually, they're not even developing it, but it's just they've cast someone and it's got a 10-episode order, so it's happening.
Okay.
It's a thing. Next up, John Stamos has been tapped as the lead in Big Shot, the new Disney Plus original, which has been written and executive produced by David E. Kelly and Dean Lorey. Where's my description? Come on. John is absolutely perfect for the role, is he? That's great. Where's my description? There we go. The 10-episode series follows a temperamental college basketball coach who gets fired from his job and must take a teaching and coaching job at an all-elite, all-girls private high school. Okay.
Okay, it doesn't particularly thrill me, but who knows?
Yeah, something different. I mean, these streaming services have to have variety, and this is
yeah.
This is something else. I mean, whether or not this is more of a straight drama and it's going to be more serious, or is this something that is more aimed at teen girls and John Stamos is your hot older man who's like...
I can see this being very funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see
playing
that.
up that angle.
Next up, so big auction here to get the rights to a true crime book published in 2011 called People Who Eat Darkness. WIP has won the rights. That's WIIP. WIP, and it's lowercase w as well, which is weird. So it's got a weird company name, but they've won the rights to this limited series. They're going to do that based on the book by Richard Lloyd Parry. People Who Eat Darkness.
Great title.
The full title of the book, because it's got a subtitle, of course, because books have to have long ass titles.
They have to ruin it.
People Who Eat Darkness: The True Story of a Young Woman Who Vanished from the Streets of Tokyo, and the Evil That Swallowed Her Up.
Oh God, there's more.
there's a colon and then there's a hyphen.
Oh my God.
I love it. It was well acclaimed when it was first published, a book that covers the investigation into the notorious murder of Lucy Blackman. She was a tall, blonde 21-year-old who gave up a British Airways stewardess job to become a bar hostess at a club in the Ropingai district. I probably butchered that location name.
Probably.
The job entailed lighting the cigarettes and listening to the frustrations of the lonely Japanese businessman. She stepped out in Tokyo one summer day in 2000 to meet one of her customers for a date, and went missing until her dismembered remains were found the following winter, buried in a seaside cave. The book chronicled a desperate search that included Lucy's father engaging British Prime Minister Tony Blair to call the Japanese Prime Minister to make the case a priority. A methodical investigation by the Japanese police led to a subsequent arrest, trial and conviction of a man who revealed to be a depraved serial predator, one who meticulously documented his penchant for knocking out women with chloroform and rohypnol and raping them. A defendant whom the judge in the case called unprecedented and extremely evil. It also became clear that this animal was perpetrating similar crimes for as many as 3 decades, in plain sight of police force that comes off as bumbling. So
that was such an in-depth description. I don't feel like I need to read the book or watch the show anymore.
That's a petty complaint.
I know.
Sounds like a fine thing for like a 10-episode series.
It does. Yeah.
To go into the you know, this is essentially like this could almost be like a spin-off of Mindhunter where they do like individual cases and like from newer eras. Although Mindhunter will probably go past this era if it gets to go to its natural conclusion. But
yeah,
this is like because this is in the 90s presumably, or early 2000s.
No, Tony Blair, early 2000s. It's got to be.
When did he become Prime Minister?
Like 99, I think. Maybe 98. But I'm assuming it's, at least a couple of years into that.
Was he not Prime Minister in 97?
Maybe it was 97. It might have been 97, yeah.
And the reason why I'm jumping to that is because I'm sure he was Prime Minister in the film The Queen, which I'm sure was set in 97.
You might well be right. It might be 97. I know it's very late 90s, enough that most things set in the 90s are not Tony Blair. Most.
It may even been 96. I'm going to look this up.
I don't think it's quite that early.
I'm going to look this up.
I could be wrong here. It's been a while.
This says 94 to 2007.
94? Wait, is that in office as Prime Minister?
This is in office 21st of July 1994 to 24th of June 2007. Oh, wait, hold on. That's leader of the Labour Party. Hold on, let me go up.
Yeah, leader of the Labour Party.
2nd of May 1997, sorry, is the day he became Prime Minister.
I knew it wasn't quite that early.
There you go, 97.
Christ.
Yeah. You were still wrong though, so I'm taking the
No,
point.
I accept 97. I was 1 year out. I knew it was 99, 98. I was like, okay, 97, I'll take that. 94, I was not having that. That was too far.
Who was Prime Minister before him?
I want to say John Major, but I could be wrong.
I was too young to know who was Prime Minister before Tony Blair.
I could be wrong.
I was 8 when Tony Blair became Prime Minister. I didn't know who was Prime Minister when I was 7.
I'm gonna check. Oh yeah, thanks. Tell me who's after. I said PM before Blair. Blair was succeeded as leader. Thanks, Google.
That was very useful. Oh dear.
Here we go. Wikipedia. Wikipedia will have it. John Major. Yeah, I was right.
Okay. All right. Next up, anyway, let's move on.
My political history isn't that terrible.
ABC has finalised deals for a pilot commitment to Rebel, a drama series inspired by the life of activist Erin Brockovich. So yeah, they're doing an Erin Brockovich TV show. It's coming from Krista Vernoff, who's going to write it. In Rebel, 20 years after a movie made her famous. Well, this is interesting, actually. It's actually incorporating the fact that the movie was made. That's actually kind of interesting. 20 years after the movie was made her famous, Annie Rebelsky is still working as a legal consultant without a law degree. A funny, messy, brilliant, and fearless real-life superhero who cares desperately about the causes she fights for and the people she loves. When Rebel applies herself to fight she believes in, she will win at almost any cost. I mean, this is going to be a generic law show on ABC, but I at least appreciate the idea of incorporating the fact that she's kind of semi-famous because of the movie. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's quite cool. But like you say, it's ABC doing a lawyer show.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I don't need to watch it, but that detail is at least kind of interesting. I appreciate that.
I agree with that.
ABC has put in development Reasonable Doubt. I wonder what genre this is going to fall under. A legal drama from Kerry Washington's Simpson Street Productions, written by Ramla Mohammed, who is a writer-producer on Washington's ABC drama series Scandal. Reasonable Doubt is co-executive produced by celebrity attorney Sean Hawley. Oh, they've got a
celebrity attorney.
Yeah. He was a member of O.J. Simpson's legal defense team.
Okay.
It'd be so weird to be proud of that. Like, I know technically you did a good job and you want to brag about it, but at the same time, you helped OJ get away with it.
Yeah.
Like the public opinion on O.J. Simpson is that he did it and got away with it. And
that's what I mean. That's what I say. We should say allegedly after
allegedly.
that sentence.
Yes. Well, the public opinion typically is that O.J. did commit murder and he got away with it. And I think it's funny because on the one hand, yeah, that's good for your career because hey, he got away with it because I'm such a good lawyer.
This is one of those things where he's right to be proud of it because if the way the legal system was, if the evidence isn't there, he just shouldn't be prosecuted, right?
But at the same time, how do you admit to someone, yeah, I kind of helped get OJ off? You're like, wait, what? You did what? You horrible person? What would you do that for? Anyway, in Reasonable Doubt, you'll judge Charlie Stewart for her questionable ethics and questionable ethics. We're already on that topic.
That didn't take long.
And wild interpretations of the law until you're the one in trouble, and then you'll see her for what she is, the most brilliant and fearless defense attorney in Los Angeles who bucks the justice system at almost every chance she gets. So there you go. Legal show on ABC.
Yep, we're good.
Next up, NBC is putting in development Wellsville, a drama inspired by the works of author H.G. Wells, from writer George Northy, who worked on Charmed. No indication if that was the old Charmed or the new Charmed. Probably the new one, but I mean, it could. I mean, the old Charmed isn't that old. That the writers won't still be working, so it could be the old one. This marks one of the first major sales for the broadcast network. Blah 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 blah. Written by Northy, Wellsville is centered on Ellie, a young scientist lured to a secluded island under the pretense of curing her terminally sick mother. While there, she discovers there is more to the island and its inhabitants than it seems. That's interesting. That's an oddly specific plot. Given it said it was based on the works of H.G. Wells, I wasn't expecting something so specifically. This is the concept.
Yeah, at first I was feeling like this is their Castle Rock, isn't it?
It could be. It could still kind of be that. Yeah. Maybe there's like a bunch of experiments on this island. This is where H.G. Wells has been cooking up all these mad, crazy shit.
Yes, that's what H.G. Wells did.
He built a time machine.
I've been sure.
Like, sure. I mean, for those who are not aware, H.G. Wells is also the character in the books. It's not just
he is, yes,
the pseudonym for the writer. So, he very well may be a character in this. He was a recurring character in Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. If you ever watched all of that. So next up, NBC is developing Adam and Eva. Not Eve, Eva. A modern-day Adam and Eve drama based on the praised Dutch series from The Village creator Mike Daniels. Written by Daniels, the new Adam and Eva is described as a funny and heartful drama that chronicles the epic love and lives of two complete strangers whose multiple run-ins begin to defy coincidence and lead both to believe in fate.
I'm good.
Yeah, this is a cheery drama on NBC. Not for us, but hey, that's the thing that exists. But luckily, we were at the CBS section of the show, so buckle up. CBS has bought 2 dramas from Jerry Bruckheimer Television.
How dare they?
Bringing 4 the number of projects the company has sold to the network in this cycle. So this season, this year, Jerry Bruckheimer sold them 4 shows.
This cycle only really started like 2 or 3 months ago.
Yes. The first of 2 new additions, Out the Door, hails from 24 veteran Evan Katz. The second is called Alibi, based on New Zealand format. Written by Katz, Out the Door. Upon learning that his impending retirement is being pushed off by several years, an apathetic NYPD detective who just wants his pension so he can get off and live the good life decides to do everything in his power to get fired. But he's
too old for this shit.
Yeah, but his bad behavior only leads to surprising success at solving cases. You know what? I hate that this is on CBS because it actually sounds amazing.
It does, doesn't it? The bumbling cop screw this, I'm doing it all wrong, and accidentally catching the serial killer.
And it accidentally does a great job. That sounds like a great like drama comedy. Like I can see that being really funny.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
CBS will suck all the life out of this. Just you watch. You watch. Alibi is written by O'Neill and the original series creator David Lee Latour and Hannah Marshall. Told from multiple perspectives in a non-linear timelines, Alibi is an investigative drama that drops the audience directly into the interrogation room alongside our homicide detectives, challenging them to discern fact from fiction and ferret out the suspect's lies in a race to solve each episode's crime before time runs out. So much like Criminal on Netflix, this is an interrogation room thing. Although this one, it sounds like it's going to be cutting back and forth between different interrogations suspects. So
yeah, and hearing the different conflicting stories.
Yeah, and doing it in whatever order they see fit. Which honestly, I don't mind as a concept. I think that gives them a lot of freedom to really play with the format.
I agree. Shame it's on CBS.
Shame it's on CBS, yes, but as a concept, I think that sounds fine. CBS again will suck the life out of it because hey, did we just have 2 interesting concepts on CBS? We know they're going to suck because it's CBS, but that was genuinely 2 interesting.
Two interesting concepts on CBS from Bruckheimer.
What's happening?
Yeah, this is surreal. Oh, what's going on this week? I don't like it.
Next
They're
up,
gonna give us some shit now, surely.
CBS has put in development Cascadia, a crime drama from NCIS Los Angeles executive producer Frank Military. His name is Military? Frank Military? It's going to co-star Eric Christian Olsen. Co-written and executive produced by Military, Olsen and Pierce Brown, Cascadia revolves around an FBI special agent with an expertise in hunting psychopathic killers who returns to her hometown in the Pacific Northwest and stumbles onto a terrifying new breed of serial murderers that threatens to expose a dark secret from her family's past. That's almost personal life there at the end.
That's what I'm debating.
Do it. This is the second last story. You're not getting much more chances. Soap opera nonsense is what that sounded like, to be honest.
It sounded like a CBS show. We're back to normal.
Yep, and then the final story of the week, CBS has put in development The Trail, a one-hour drama from David Harrington Miller, who worked on Rosewood. Vilmer Valderrama and WV Entertainment. Written by Miller, the trail revolves around an elite unit of investigators within the U.S. National Park Service. I love how every time CBS gives us a new show, it's like, oh, what specific like law enforcement agency or community are they going to be set in? The Park Service, who work to solve the highest profile cases in Yosemite National Park, a location known for its rare beauty and extraordinary danger. It's just a cop show in Yosemite. That's the whole premise.
Pretty much. I'm disappointed. That was so generic. CBS couldn't even do personal and professional.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even give them the personal side.
But there you go. That is the news. That is the extent of the news this week. Like we said earlier, we did have a couple of the Apple shows reviewed. We also reviewed His Dark Materials episode 1, so all those reviews are up to be looked at. Obviously, new episodes of Watchmen and Mr. Robot also went up. So, plenty of interesting stuff to go check out from the week.
Yes, yeah. I'm just seeing if there's anything coming up this week, sorry.
I don't know. Don't know if there
doesn't look like we've got anything scheduled, so unless there's something on Netflix we've missed.
Yeah, that sneaks up on us, yeah. But that is basically us. That is the week as it is. Yeah. So you can let us know what you thought of those stories in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, and you can let us know what you think in the comments. I said that already. You guys on Patreon, patreon.com/SmellFuzzTV. I said it earlier. If you want to support us, you can also support us over on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast that we use. If you rate the show, give us 5 stars. It helps us out a lot because it spreads us out to other people. So do that. It does help a lot. So do that, and then get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. And that's basically it. That's everything. So thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?